your syllabus says scanning plus image plus scanning plus editing plus placement. It should read scanning plus image editing plus placement. That's my fault on that typographical error. Do you see what I mean? See at the top? Image editing. Yeah, image editing. So, in this workshop, we're going to talk about the valuable essentials of making pleasing images. So we have our image to scan, assuming we've scanned them all. And I did bring a scanner in case we do need to scan anything in. Using it in print, using it on screen, internet, PowerPoint. The concept of pleasing images can be subjective, and it can be a little confusing. So I'll start off by asking you, looking at the screen, which one of these pictures is more pleasing than the other to you? The one on the right. So which one is more pleasing for print, and which one is more pleasing for on-screen?
Print on the left, and the right. For online, I think it's toss-up, probably the one on the right.
So the one on the left should be for print, and the one on the right should be for online, you're saying. Yeah. And why do you say that?
Well, when you print out the pictures, if you were to use the one on the right, there's so many dark tones in the picture there that when you would print out the photograph, they would actually, in some cases, actually be darker.
Exactly.
Than what you're seeing in the
exactly.
picture
Yeah.
there.
When you're going for print, you think, well, this picture's too light, the one on the left. But actually, it's perfect for print because of the ink. You put that one on the right, even though it's black and white, that really clogs up what they call the shadow areas, the dark areas. It's much more appropriate for on-screen. But it could be a toss-up. But generally, the things on the, always, if you want to go to print, you have to lighten it. So we'll get into that. So what do I mean by pleasing? Pleasing really is about three concepts. Number one, is it in focus? Number two, is the contrast good? Is it excellent contrast? Again, that can be based on what? Print, on screen. Accurate color. Accurate color across the board, whether it's on screen or print, makes an image pleasing to the reader's eye. So you, working on your family history, possibly doing a book, a blog, scrapbook, whatever you're doing, keep in mind focus, contrast, color. If you want to do a cover picture for your family book, family history book, pick the picture that isn't just so-and-so, but it's a picture of so-and-so that's in focus. It has excellent contrast and accurate color. In focus. In focus really just means this. It's just based on this. Are the eyes sharp or the main subject? Because as you know, you have pictures of people that are far away. Or maybe not far away, but they fill the frame. You're not quite sure of the eyes. But are they sharp? Or is the background sharp? So look at this picture on the left and the picture in the middle. These are caterpillar. It's the same caterpillar. But the one in the left, look at it looks like a puffball or something. A cotton, piece of cotton. But in the background, you can see the grass, right? See how sharp it is? That is an out-of-focus picture. I know you're saying, I know that. But I just want to give you where these concepts come from in their most basic sense. The one in the middle, the one in the right, that caterpillar is sharp. So we know that's more appropriate for a display. That's pleasing. Now look at the picture. The little boy's smiling in his judo, doing martial arts, whatever. Someone's strangling him on the ground. you tell me, is he in focus? No?
No.
I got a surprise for you.
His
He
hand.
is.
His face is in focus, the rest, other parts of him are not.
His hand is in focus.
Yeah.
But
The whole area is in focus because we can see sharpness in the carpet here and sharpness in the carpet here. So the whole plane, or this plane coming around here, you're actually cutting across like this, right? But actually, he was in focus. But he was moving. He's moving. He's moving too fast for the shutter to stop it. And there's no flash there either to freeze him. Hit him with a little flash, and people suddenly stop moving in a picture. All right, so this is tricky. It's like, what is it? So the way you look is, yeah, you look at hands, but generally you look at the focal plane. He's moving. So that's still not a pleasing picture. But I wanted to explain to you what we think is out of focus. Sometimes it's just blurry. The focus was fine. There's just movement. See, if I'm moving like this, and you've seen some of the old pictures, especially with the babies, when they used to do these long exposures, when the photographers didn't have strobe lights, they had light coming from the ceiling, right? And you see a little child move like this, they're blurred. You've seen pictures on the farm with a horse, right? And like, where's the horse's tail? Well, it's because it's flapping all the time. It's not going to show up. You understand? Because it's moving. All right? Okay, excellent contrast. I had a photography teacher, and he told me good contrast is a perfectly integrated society of rich blacks and poor whites. Okay, y'all gotta laugh. Okay, but you know, I'll never forget it. It always stuck in my head. But we have here rich black or dark areas, right? But we have no pure white areas. And she's got a white shirt. We should have that. This is better contrast. So if you see, oh, isn't that pretty? Well, where's the pure whites? In here. Not necessarily on her shoulder, but where is it here? I don't see it, so I have to correct this. And I correct it, after I correct it, it will be like this. All right. We'll get to that. Accurate color. Accurate color? What does that mean? Accurate color is just about realistic neutral tones. Neutral tones. Skin is, I like to throw that out there, it's not really neutral, but it is a target for accurate color. Skin tones, concrete, grass, steel, tires. So in order to get accurate skin tones, if the concrete is green, we have to correct for that. Usually everything else will fall in line. If the skin is yellow, we correct for that. We take out the yellow, we add blue. It will fix that. Here we have people of different complexions. Lighter skin, darker skin, darker skin, darker skin, lighter skin. All right? These are targets. He's looking yellow here, but he's looking normal here. She's looking normal. She's looking kind of yellow. So in many cases, we have to adjust for that. I hope when you come out of this, well, we got a ways to go, but when you come out of this, you're going to start looking at pictures a little more differently. Not so much as, oh, that's a pretty picture, as much as, that looks a little green, that looks a little yellow. All right? Now, especially when you have dark-skinned people, they tend to go real yellow in a photo, typically. And that needs to always be corrected. When you have lighter-skinned people, they can tend to go green or real red. Those kinds of things you have to get all these. I'm kind of dilly-dallying between intermediate and advanced concepts, but the point of it is we want to make good pictures for presentation. So I want to ask you in the group, what kind of concepts, when it comes to getting pleasing images, we're talking what? Sharpness, we're talking contrast and color. Do you have any special technique? Anyone?
Just what you mentioned is pretty much what I stick with, is the contrast and the sharpness, some of the shadows, that kind of thing. What's really difficult with some of the older photographs, though, is because of the way they were taken back then, some of them you might have some very dark backgrounds right around the person, and so they almost like blend into it. It's really hard to sharpen that up to make them stand out when they have that dark background behind them.
You know, like you said, you have people blending into the background.
Yeah.
You'll have black hair with a black background, and all you see is a face.
Right.
You know, or eyes or teeth. And, you know, and these are problems that occur today, too, for modern photography. But, yeah, it's exactly right. And these are things. So, the idea is we want to understand what's before us so that we can get predictable results. We don't want to just open an image up and hope that it comes out looking better by clicks, click an auto button here and auto click there, and hope and pray and have faith. We'd really rather know what we're doing. And the other point I want to come across is consistency is crucial. That's why you should have a system. And I'm big on workflow. I'm big on workflow. And even in my course that I used to teach, and now I just sell it as a video course, I make sure everybody leaves with a workflow. And that way you're comfortable and you can improve upon it and adjust it to your own liking. A little bit about image anatomy. What is an image made of? It's made of three things: the size, the file format, and color. Even if it's black and white, that's color, you know. It's color. It's just black. It's just black. We have image size. So image size means, what is the resolution? How many pixels per inch? How many dots per inch? Okay, here is something, here's great examples. So here's a graphic. Maybe you'll use clip art in a blog or in a publication. This is sharp. This is 300 pixels per inch, which is the nominal. So that's your one of your magic numbers today. It's 300 pixels per inch to be your minimum resolution. This is 72, enlarged for the same purpose. Look at how gummy and pixelated it is. Lack of detail. This, same thing, 300, 72. It's the same image, just I cut the resolution. File format. What are you saving it as? What do y'all save your images as? JPEGs?
Yeah, I was told not to.
Yeah. You were told right not to.
Documents are okay as JPEGs, aren't they? Or is it better just to...
I would say go with TIFF, and then, but if you really want to, if you have documents without any images in it, I'd say save it as a PDF, and then run it through an optical character recognition software, and it will extract all the text and make it searchable in your Acrobat reader. This is a JPEG at the highest quality setting, but then if I work on it, save it, close it a couple of times, this is what happens to it. Work on it, save it some more, and this is what happens to it. Look at the blocks. It averages out all the tones. So you should be saving as TIFF, your images. That's another magic number, TIFF, T-I-F. The one you shouldn't be saving as JPEG. Anyone got a flip pal scanner? Okay, so you know your flip pal only saves as JPEG, right? All right? And you know you can save it as a 600 ppi, right? File format, image size, resolution. And when you run it through the stitching software, it cuts it back down to 300. So you have to keep all those source images that you scan with your flip file. They don't tell you this. I don't know why. I've complained to them. Others have complained to them. But, you know, when you scan a large image with a flip file, you get different parts of a puzzle.
So basically scan on the flip file, scan at the highest resolution possible. Which is
Stitch it.
Stitch it, and then it's
But keep everything.
Yeah.
Keep the stitch and the original, because the stitch cuts the resolution in half. There goes half your detail.
Yeah.
All right? And complain to them, because they don't listen to me.
If I save something in TIFF,
Yes.
without making any color adjustments or anything else, I won't be able to do that, right? Will I be able to make
If you
adjustments?
save in TIFF, you could do whatever you want with it.
TIFF doesn't lock me out from making any,
No, but it does lock you out from posting it online. TIFF does lock you out from sharing it easily through email. So that's why you save all your originals as a TIFF, and then you save a copy as a JPEG.
okay, so save it first.
Yeah. And when you're going to go to print, we'll get into that. I'll explain it to you.
So basically what we've done is we've taken the family photos, scanned them as TIFF,
Yes.
put them all in one folder. These are all the TIFF versions of it. And then the ones that we wanted to use in other formats online in a blog post or whatever,
Yes.
or print, then we just take those, do a save as into JPEG,
Exactly.
do a converter or whatever, and then save them as JPEGs that way.
And then trash the JPEG so you don't have a duplicate.
Right.
And if someone said, but I wanted it too. So no problem. Open up your TIFF, save it as a JPEG, email it to them, trash it. So you don't have too many duplicates.
Now, what does that do to, like, I started going through a couple years ago and putting on a flash drive all of my family pictures for 1 year. And I have a little tag on there that says pictures from,
Yes.
of kids and places, vacations, and that kind of thing.
Yes.
But how much more space, TIFF uses more space than JPEG?
TIFF uses much more space than JPEG, yes. It uses almost 3 times, typically 3 times. But the hard drive space, the flash drive space is so big now, it's really nothing to worry about. You know, definitely get them as JPEG. And by the way, flip file should also be able to give you an option to save as TIFF, and they should give you a bigger SD card to accommodate that. I don't know why. I mean, these are genealogists, not like.
Well, you know, I'm really surprised he doesn't support, the scan doesn't support different formats besides JPEG. You know, it just doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't. And I'll tell you, it's shameful,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
And you're right, you should know that if you're selling this and marketing most of this to genealogists,
Yeah.
we all know that images should be scanned as TIFF.
Yep.
They should have the software and the hardware should be compatible to be able to do that.
Exactly. So color is the other aspect of image anatomy. So here we have a grayscale scan of an image, of a color image, but it's grayscale. So your scanner, you can set it to scan in grayscale. But here it is in color. If you look, it's darker. It's hard to see on this projector screen, but there's more detail if you scan in color, even if it's a black and white picture. So you have a color print, you have a black and white print. You should be scanning both of them as color. If you have a black and white print or a color print, black and white negative, color negative, you should scan them in as color because you get much more detail. Now here, of course, is an example of just correcting color. He's not so yellow. Remember what I said about dark-skinned people? They tend in photos to go yellow. Now he looks better. Not so jaundiced. He looked jaundiced. So good. We can go to a demonstration, which we're going to kind of dance around this one. So I'm going to turn the light on. And I'll go to this board. And I want to deal with some hard facts. And this is actually from here, Let me ask, are there any questions so far? Don't be afraid, please. All right. Let's talk about publications. Publications. That is things you're going to print. Newsletter, book. You should start with images that are print ready. All right? Even if you only plan to use them on screen. So what I mean by that is high resolution. Because on-screen images, they can be smaller resolution. So you have, let's go print, and let's go on-screen. I didn't spell that right, but you get the point. 372 dpi. So always start here if you can. You scan, you should be at a minimum of 300 pixels per inch, even if you're going to go over here. With the photos, and remember what I said, you can go down from here, but if you go from here up, it's not going to look like a 300. It's just going to be a bigger file and a little less blurry, maybe. You know, you really don't have to spend a lot of time on it. The main thing is 300 pixels per inch at 100% size. At least 100% size. So if I have a 4x6,
what was the, you said at 100% what?
Of the size, original size.
Size. Okay.
let me reiterate, yeah. I have a 4x6 print. I'm going to scan it at 300 pixels per inch at 100% size at least. Because you know in the scanner, you can tell it to enlarge, which is fine in the scanner. That's good to do in the scanner. But don't do that in Photoshop or Photoshop Elements. Do it in the scanner. Enlarge it in the scanner. But I'm saying at least, these are the minimums for print. You can reduce problems by doing that too, because then if you go 300 pixels per inch at 200%, I don't have my scanner to hook up to here, but I'll be doing a scanning workshop, and we'll talk about that if you happen to be going to that tomorrow. But not a workshop, it's just a 1 hour thing. Some of you, have you heard of CMYK color? All right, some of you have. CMYK stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, black. This is printer color. What I mean by printer, I'm saying offset, professional. This is a book. They may require you to give them CMYK images. This is, like I said, they may require you to do it if you're going to be printing a book. So what you'll do is you'll convert your RGB. It's converted from RGB, which is the standard digital imaging color mode. Your scans are RGB, your digital camera pictures are RGB. So they may require you to do that. That's okay, but don't save your original into that, because it may change the color a little bit. Because printers cannot print some of the colors that you and I have that we scan. They just don't show up very well. You know, bright colors, saturated reds and oranges, they just don't really show up well in print. On screen, they may look fine, but not in print. If you have color scans of black and white, remember what I said? Scan in color. And I'll put RGB in parentheses since we're talking technical. And that stands for red, green, blue, keen, green, blue. All right? If you need it to be grayscale or black and white, it's okay to convert it from this. You know, okay to convert to grayscale. Because, as you saw in the beginning, I showed the little girl by the compost bin. We had one that was lighter and one that was darker, and we agreed the one on the left that was lighter was more appropriate for print. Converting to grayscale may help with getting there. It's just something I wanted to throw out there. Not a big deal. Whenever you deal with a printer, if it's on demand or with a specific printing publisher, they'll tell you what they want. Now, here I talk about, at the end of the publication section, I talk about contrast and color required knowledge of how it will be printed. And I wanted to kind of explain that. In the handout it says uncoated. That would be like this kind of paper that your handout is on. You can print on paper like that for a book. This type of paper soaks up the ink easily. And that's where you really want to lighten up your image. You want to lighten it up, and I'll be showing you how to do that. Coated paper is more like a magazine cover. Or, if you look at, for example, Time magazine, or many other magazines, typical magazines, notice the paper is a little glossy? That's called coated paper. Coated paper is a little more forgiving. It can hold ink better. It has a better range of tones. So it's good to know that. You should make that kind of decision when you're going to work on your book. Am I going to do the cover? Is the cover going to be coated? Is the inside going to be coated? You really don't need to coat the inside with a book, because the cover should be expected to be. Newsprint. Newsprint, as you know, that kind of paper is very lightweight. And it really doesn't like dark blotches of ink.
Yeah,
And
it bleeds a lot.
It bleeds. And it does the same with color. I'd say lighten the image almost 50%. You say, oh, it's beautiful, nice, perfect contrast. Okay, bless you. Get perfect contrast, but then lighten it up from there. Almost 25 to 50%. And it'll look pretty decent. Go ahead.
So Eric, what you're saying here is that when we scan our images the first time, we save them at a minimum of the 300 ppi.
Yes.
And save them in a TIFF format.
Yeah.
And then depending on how we're going to use the image from that point forward, we would have to possibly convert it to a JPEG or reduce the resolution or whatever, because it's going to be different online versus print on the different prints and that kind of thing.
That's right.
Okay.
Follow that basic thing.
So you might
Good resolution, good file format, good contrast, whatever you got to do.
So we create a folder. Let's say we scan our originals. That's 10 photographs.
Yes.
You know, high resolution TIFFs. Save them in there.
Yes.
Create another folder basically of those photographs that are reduced in size or whatever as JPEG or something for the other formats that we're going to use them in, right?
That is a good option. Of course, I would caution though, you know, about taking time to do that for every image.
Yeah.
But only when it's appropriate.
Okay.
As long as you start out right,
Right.
then you go and do that other stuff later.
Okay.
And that's what I'm giving you. That's what really this workshop is about, is how to prepare your images for presentation.
Okay.
Excellent, excellent. Then there's something heavy paper, and a lot of books are heavy paper that's uncoated. And you should still lighten up a little bit. Again, if it's not coated paper. What about inkjet paper or stuff like that? Well, inkjet paper is generally coated paper, and that'll hold a nice range of tones. so you can think into, especially if you want to do your own. I just want to print my own book on my own printer and staple it myself. And fine, and that's what you would do. That's what you would do. Now, clip art. How many of y'all ever worked with clip art? Graphics, you know, like a tree, a family history tree, right? Good. The same rules apply for these things. But I recommend that you purchase what's called vector versions from the stock site that you downloaded on, or make sure the CD or clip art you buy has vector format. So let's erase this and write that down so you see what I'm talking about. And because I'm not able to use my computer precisely, I will, let's do this. Graphics. When I say graphics, I mean drawings, clip art. Okay, same rules as photo, but as photo. You want it to be vector. A vector is also known as file format, EPS. There's also another one. No, I'm going to leave it at that. EPS is not JPEG, it's not TIFF. And if you buy vector images, they're going to be in EPS. If they tell you these are vector, maybe they look like vector. But if they tell you these are vector, but the file format is JPEG or EPS, or JPEG or TIFF, it's not a vector. I'll explain to you in a minute. So you write not JPEG or TIFF. The vector is scalable. So scalable means I think I spelled that wrong. It's scalable. That means I can go up in size, in resolution, with no loss. Why do I need to know this? Because you can get a graphic of, let's say, a genealogy tree, a cute cartoon of a tree, and it's this small. And it only costs you 10 cents or 15 cents or 25 cents, but you need it this big. When you enlarge it, it will look blurry. It'll look pixelated. When you put it into something in your page layout program or PowerPoint, PowerPoint will let you scale it up. PowerPoint takes EPS files. Sometimes they're a little more expensive, by like $1 or something. But it's really worth it for graphics. Photos, it's different. Photos are not vectors. They are bitmap. They're a whole different species of life. Okay? So this is for graphics. Do you understand? Any questions?
Well, I have one.
Yes.
Is there any reason why I would save a photo or a drawing that someone did after I scanned it? Is there a reason for me to save it as EPS?
No.
Will any computer software let you convert JPEG to EPS?
You wouldn't need to. It's not. Yes.
Aren't those usually though, like if you go to iStockphoto.com or something like that, where you want to use you don't have an image to use and you want to write about something? Or,
Yes.
Isn't that usually what you're talking about? Rather than like your ancestors' photos or documents aren't going to fall into that, right?
This is strictly like going to iStockphoto, Dreamtime, Shutterstock, or clipart.com, whatever it is, or buying a CD from someone of clip art over here in the exhibit hall. This is, I'm not talking about, this is definitely not a photo type thing.
What about Microsoft Clip Art though?
Microsoft Clip Art,
JPG though, aren't they?
yeah, Microsoft Clip Art, but generally they'll be bigger.
Oh, okay.
So those Clip Art, if it prints out and it's sharp, it's fine. I'm talking about being scalable. It's a little stickler that
I haven't used it a lot, but I've used a couple of Clip Art. So
I-
wasn't sure.
it's kind of like, it's hard to explain because I don't have mine, I'm not able to hook mine up to their system, and you all don't have it for me to show you.
Yeah.
It's really kind of hard. But
I've tried to scale some Microsoft Clip Art and it doesn't work, it doesn't.
Well, you have to remember too, when you get
Yeah.
these freebie things, or the things that come with it, they're not going to give you high quality vector images that are scalable. It's very inexpensive by them just giving JPEGs. So when you want a high quality, clip art, then you're going to want to go to a site that sells high quality clip art, and that's why he was saying that they should be vector based, so you can scale them without loss of distortion.
exactly. EPS is just for clip art. I recommend that. I recommend that you use an EPS format. Not that you can save as, not that you can make an EPS. I know how to do it with a vector-based program like Adobe Illustrator, but this is just something that you would purchase. This is a file format that you would purchase if you would purchase something in this file format. All right? Vector. And it's perfect for your PowerPoint presentation because, like I said, you can do anything with it and it not get fuzzy.
I have a question.
Yes.
How do you purchase it? Or where do you get it?
Right. So you would go to, like, I here at page 2 at the bottom I say royalty-free stock images, and I give you some websites.
Oh, okay.
And like I said, there's CDs that vendors sell of genealogy clip art,
Oh,
family crests and cute borders and
okay.
pretty flowers and puppy dogs,
All right.
that kind of thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, and clip art is nice to enhance, to garnish your publications with. You can put a little design in there. If you need a picture of someone sitting at a desk researching, clip art is a great way to get an image of someone sitting at a desk researching if you wanted to do a publication for your society.
Okay. You're saying you can purchase clip art that way, right?
Yes.
I thought you said you had to purchase EPS program or something.
Well, the clip art,
Clip
clip art is a general term,
is the EPS
and
program?
an EPS
Okay.
is a format
I
of
got
the
it.
file.
Okay.
So I'm looking on the clip art website, and I
Okay.
see here's a pretty cartoon
Okay.
of a young woman sitting at a desk researching or
Oh,
reading a
okay,
book.
okay.
That's a cute cartoon. I'm going to buy it. And they say you can get it as a JPEG, an EPS, a this, a vector, whatever.
Oh.
I say get the one
Oh,
that's vector
I
because it's
understand.
scalable.
Okay. Sorry.
Got it?
Yeah, got it.
Any other questions? All right. So on screen. Good. Let's erase this. Any other questions? Feel free.
File formats like a GIF or a bitmap, are those in the same category as JPEGs?
So, yeah, that's a good question. So let's just go over that. File format. We have raster / bitmap. And we have vector, which I just finished talking about. Now, from here, we have JPEG. We also have TIFF. We also have GIF, PNG. We have BMP. You'll see these kind of things as choices to save your photos as, or scans, the scans that you make of drawings or documents. But vector is pretty much limited to EPS. There's one more I want to mention. It's called PNG.
You got it.
Number 4, it's on there.
Oh yeah, that's actually PNG part 2 now. Thank you. I'm way ahead of myself. These two actually have something in common. And you can't scale it, but you can have a transparent background. And again, I'm so limited, so I'm going to try to explain it in drawings. All right,
Can you put it in Dropbox and then go and use Wi-Fi? I don't know.
It'd take too long.
Yeah.
I'll just draw it. Here's the page in my layout, right? Here's my masthead, right? So-and-so family history newsletter, right? I have in the middle a nice oval photograph or an oval graphic or something like that. Let's just say a graphic. We'll call it graphic. And then my headline is here, and my body goes around it, like this, right? Now, a PNG or an EPS will allow the words to wrap around it. But all these other formats, I'll be stuck with a white box. So I'm going to have this cute graphic of our family crest. I'm going to be stuck with this white junk. So a PNG will allow me, or EPS will allow me, to have a transparent background. It doesn't always, it's not the case with photos though. It's with a graphic. All right? It's not, photos are photos. You're going to have a square. You're going to have a square, no matter what, with a photo. I mean, obviously. Without showing you exactly So we have now on screen. Any questions? All right, so let's go to on screen. Any image you need to display on a monitor or projector should be sourced from a print-ready version. And that's based on what I said before. Start big, then go small. If you're going to display it on screen, make sure that it's in RGB or grayscale mode. And that's by default when we scan RGB. Remember what I said? Oh, maybe the printer wants a CMYK version. Well, guess what? If you upload that CMYK version, it's not going to show up in people's web browser. They're not going to see it. It's not going to show. It may not even show in your PowerPoint properly. So make sure it's the RGB, all right? So on screen, which means web, PowerPoint, RGB, or grayscale. And something would be grayscale if it's just a black and white. And if it's a grayscale, one benefit is smaller file size. Because there's less channels of color being used, it'll be a smaller file. And also because it's on screen, we're at 72 pixels per inch. We take our 300, we cut the resolution down to 72, save as. For our presentation, the file will be 4 times smaller. 3 times smaller, I think. No, 4 times smaller. Somewhere around there. Give me some decimal points and maybe we'll...
I have a question.
And one last thing is, if you know your PowerPoint is like this big, right? You know that's the screen, right? And you know the image is going to be used this big in PowerPoint, you should resize it to this size in PowerPoint. Not in PowerPoint, in your photo editing program. So let's say this is the picture of so-and-so that I want in my PowerPoint. I know it's only going to be 2 inches wide. I should bring it into Photoshop Elements, resize it to 2 inches wide, and then place it.
So
That will keep my
resize-
PowerPoint presentation size smaller.
Oh, okay, so size it down before you import it in.
Size it down before you import it. You shouldn't, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but if you put a high resolution image in your PowerPoint presentation, it like takes up the whole screen.
Yeah.
And then you got to click on that little anchor bar to shrink it down. That's too big. PowerPoint's going to remember it at this size. And it's going to be a fatter file. So you want to squish that file size down by not putting it in this big, putting it in this big. Okay, we had someone that...
What does that, when you shrink it down like that, what does that do to the color? If it's a color image, does it?
It doesn't, if you shrink the
change
image,
the intensity of the color?
if you shrink the image, it's not going to change the color at all. It's not, unless you change the color, the image size. So again, I said at 100% size, so 72 at 100%, at 100% size, and 100% what you want it to be. So if this, I want it to be 2 inches, I need to downsize. For the internet, specifically for your blog, website, these are the file formats that I recommend. JPEG or PNG for photos. Let's say for blog, website, display. Oh, that's spelling. JPEG or PNG. Pretty much right here. GIF or GIF for graphics, or clip art, let's say clip art. Because generally what that will do is, GIF is limited to a certain amount of colors, makes the file size smaller. So the main things to make sure it looks good on print, on screen, is RGB, JPEG, and the right size. Now remember what I said about the PowerPoint? Put your picture in the PowerPoint presentation at the size you want it to be. Save it in your image editing program, make it 2 inches wide, save as for your PowerPoint. We'll do the same for your blog or your website. If your blog or website is here and the image is going to go here for your article, and this is 3 inches, you should resize it for that 3 inches wide. Because that'll speed up the amount of time it takes for that picture to load. Now you go ahead and upload a 300 pixel per inch image to your blog. And some people on their little phones, slow internet connections, are going to wait a while the picture loads. And they'll just maybe leave the website, who knows. Or they'll think something's wrong. So you got to resize it. Make sure you resize all the time.
GIF stands for what?
Graphics, I forgot, but
It's a lazy.
yeah, yeah.
Google's your friend.
Yeah.
Google is your friend. I know JPEG is Joint Photographics Experts Group, but you really don't mix
I
the
just thought maybe.
Graphics interchange format.
Thank you, graphics interchange format. That's good, yeah, students clicking around, yes.
You know, going back to that original question I had,
Yes.
so we don't use bitmap at all, because that's one of the options also.
Yeah, BMP, by the way, there's a difference between bitmap mode and bitmap format. All right. So that gets a little tricky sometimes. Well, BMP, as in the file format, is pretty much like, it's just like a TIFF.
Okay.
So bitmap is okay,
So you don't lose resolution
No.
as you're saving your file.
as long as you're doing it this way.
Right.
But if you're doing a mode, a color mode, called bitmap, in addition, with there's also, you'll see RGB, grayscale. You never want to do that, because that will turn it into a literal black and white image. It will look like a photocopy. That's dangerous.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't use bitmap for color, but
No.
why would you use bitmap at all? What would be the benefit of using bitmap?
Well, because it was a PC-based format for images that is very, it doesn't lose, it's not lossy, it's very much like TIFF. What I was talking about, the color mode of, you're probably not going to have to deal with it. I'm specifically addressing him. I just want to make sure that he is clear that bitmap format is safe, and it is. It is safe for him to use as an archival quality format. So now we can work. All right, so what I want to do is I want to go around the room and deal with specific problems. All right, so let's talk about, do we have anyone with a PowerPoint or a blog that's up that they want to do something with, that they have questions about regarding the images? Nope. Sort of? Yeah. Yeah.
But I've been adding photos, but I don't know. I
Great.
guess I'm doing them okay.
Great. Well, come on, class. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this. All right. So, tell us, this is your blog, right? And what's going on here? What is
This is the family history writing blog, and you want to know how I present, or what?
Yeah. What are you doing with the, like, what did you put any of these in just now?
I just did this.
Right here. Too many computers. I know what you mean. Yeah.
I just did this one this morning.
Great.
And
Great.
I
Right here, this picture.
this whole entry, the Mary siblings thing.
Click on it so that we just see that. Click on the article link.
Okay.
Good. All right.
And well, from what you said, I think I did them right. Because I start with, when I scan, I've been scanning TIFF, and then I change it to JPEG, and then I size it down, and then I put them in here.
That's really good. Let's click on this picture.
But this picture is
Yeah.
not very clear.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, and that's about that. This is showing it at 100% size, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, it is. Oops. Go back over here. So, anyone that's looking at this image, what comes to mind? Anything? Let's critique.
I don't know if
The
my eyes are
color.
bugging me because it's been a long couple of days here,
Yeah.
but it looks a little either green or
Mhm.
like a, I
Sepia.
don't know, sepia.
It's not, it's
kinda
not really
greenish.
sepia. It's
Yeah,
not
no.
sepia,
Like
it's
a
green.
false sepia.
Well, generally, when I see a picture like that, what I want to do is see their faces. And I want to try to zoom in on something like that.
Huh?
And when they're saved in that format, I can't do that because they just lose all the resolution.
So you'd crop it then and pull out the bottom of the photo?
I might have changed it to grayscale.
Wow. All right. So I'm hearing a lot of things, and I think this is really good. So one thing I like about what he's saying is, here's a case where I would think, he's saying, I want to see some faces. And I'm sure the detail in the faces is better in the scan, in the original. And I'm thinking that you scanned it large at 300. And I'm thinking I might have uploaded it at 300. Because you downsized it to 72, like I said, right?
Yeah, actually, I have to take that back.
Can,
That particular image I got, someone emailed it to me.
Ah, this was emailed to her, so she's stuck. And that might be the full size that she's
Or sometimes
uploaded it
there's
as.
a lot of genealogists that are arguing now about copyright, I guess, in a sense. And so sometimes you downsize them to kind of prohibit that. But I don't care on my photos.
Right,
'cause
right,
they can
right.
take whatever they want.
Yeah,
Most
take
people are
it,
long
share
gone.
it. So
what
and
do you
then
do
the
when you're
gray.
stuck?
See, one thing that's distracting is that kind of greenish sepia, faux sepia going on.
If I made this like in my photo program, and can I change that greenishness to it?
Yeah, and so let's do that right now.
I'll
So,
have to do it.
so great. You have elements, or what do you use to
No.
edit pictures?
Well, I
Use
just,
iPhoto.
yeah, iPhoto.
All right. So
And that photo is,
yeah, but let's open it in iPhoto.
where is it? There it is. There they are.
So do you know how to change that to a black and white in iPhoto?
Actually, no.
All right, so, good. So what you do in iPhoto is you would click on this edit, this pencil thing,
Yeah, I click on that
right?
to, yeah, I do a little bit with it, but
Good.
I really don't know how to do a whole lot
Good.
with it.
So now click on, I think, Effects. Try Effects. And it gives you some choices.
Black and white.
See, it says B and W, black and white. Click that. All right. And then it applies it, right? It's kind of hard for us all to see it, but
Yeah.
it applies it. And then what you do is you export it, right? Is that how you get it to your blog? How do you get it to your blog from here? Show me.
Well, I have to go to the blog and upload it. Or
You have to get it out of iPhoto first.
When you go to the blog, because I use WordPress, I don't use Blogger, but when you go and do that, you just click upload, right?
Yeah.
And then you're
Right.
uploading
And then
it. Do you pick the original when you upload it then?
I usually
Or
take
have
the
you
one
saved it again?
I've downsized it usually.
Okay, so she's downsizing it from iPhoto, so how do you do that?
You're-
Well,
From here,
Yeah.
I think that's what the question is. So now
oh,
you,
okay.
So where do you
you've
go
changed
next?
something, so how are you're gonna save it so that you can upload it, right?
I hit done,
Uh-huh.
and then what I do is, this is the only way I don't know how to downsize.
That's
Okay, let me go back
Uh-huh.
here. Now, I email it to myself,
Oh.
and then I can pick how big I want it.
Oh.
That's the only way I know
All right, let's
how
do
to
something a
change
little
that.
easier.
Okay.
Hit cancel.
Okay.
All right, so,
That's all right.
you all right?
Okay.
So what I would do is think of exporting. That's how you send something out, right?
Yeah.
In commerce.
Okay.
So go to File
Okay.
and go to Export. And good. So File, Export, Kind Current. Click and hold that. I'm curious about that. So go to JPEG. All right. And see the quality. Make it maximum.
Okay.
Maximum. That means best quality.
Okay.
Right? And just include title and keywords just in case you did that.
Oh, okay.
It's always a safe bet. All right, and the size. Let's keep it full size because we're talking detail. All right? And the file name, we're going to use the same file name. Let's not worry about that. Go to Export. Do you know how to export to your desktop?
Yeah.
So do that. Good. And hit OK.
Okay.
Now let's go to your blog. Go to that image. And I'm sorry, go to that article and you want to edit it.
Okay.
You know how to do that in Blogger.
Yeah.
So probably design maybe.
I gotta go over here to.
All right.
Then, let's see.
Posts, right?
Yeah,
post.
post.
Where are they?
And
Maybe all.
click again, yeah. It might be a little slow. They should show up.
Anything going on here?
Yeah, it should be working.
It's going.
There's something loading here.
Yeah.
Okay, it's connected now, so
Okay.
try again. All right, so let's do this then. Go back to the article, because I think we can edit directly from the article if I recall properly. So let me just get this right in front so I can see all the little details. I'm going to click on your article, part 2, right? And yeah, so we're going to go to the end. We're going to click this pencil. And that will take you directly to edit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now what you do, see this caption? You added that in there, right?
Right.
So double click that so that we don't,
The caption?
yeah. Double click it so it's highlighted. Double click again. All right, triple click. Oh, do that, yeah. Okay, so Apple C to copy, right? Now,
Delete that?
delete it, yeah. Unless it says
It says
remove, do that, yeah. Okay, now put it where it should be. Put your cursor where you want the, yeah. Now you know how to place a photo, right? You remember?
Still have these little thingies there.
Nah,
There
leave
we
it.
go. Okay.
And then,
Okay.
right. And now she's going to navigate to the desktop and, yeah, choose. Try
You're
again.
putting it
Press
up as a
again.
JPEG.
Okay, now go to your
See,
desktop.
I would,
Don't do it from
Place
here.
it down.
Because she's been loading
Yeah, I've been looking
iPhoto
for
from this
photos.
media browser.
I have. Oops.
Yeah.
Wait.
So I'm giving you something a little different to do. That is a silly thing. Don't crashing us now. Anyways, that's what you would do.
Okay.
And then you would
Get it on the
paste
desktop.
that caption information.
Back in.
Back in.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
All right.
So,
Oh,
There you go.
go click on desktop before it locks up again right here. Yeah. Yeah. All
oh,
right.
there we go.
Now we want to find that picture. And so here, you know what it's called? Do you know what it's called or not?
Well, there, it's called that.
That?
That wasn't exactly.
Yeah.
the name of it.
And that looks like the black and white one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today at 4:30. Good. Good. All right, and now we're going to add it.
That's nice.
All right, and then click on the image so you can do your caption. Right. Yep. Yeah, you got it. No, you got it. Apple V, Command V, yep.
Yeah.
There you go. And now,
I can make this, I usually make it a little bit bigger. There we go.
now update. And now let's view it.
Let me just-
I have a feeling that
You know-
this is a really small.
Just refresh it on the
Refresh it on
desktop.
the big screen there.
Oh, I was on their computer,
She's
right?
got it
Because
up
you
on
can
there.
just, it's already there.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
You just
This is a
refresh
great
that,
way to
it's
view
bigger.
it.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that's what it looked like before.
Now watch, people. It's going to change.
Oh,
Yeah.
there
Maybe
we go.
not.
It's changed.
It did.
Oh, yeah.
It did.
Yeah, it did. It definitely-
Better.
It did. It's hard for me
Yeah.
to tell from
yeah,
here.
it did.
It changed.
did.
All right. And click on it, and let's see if it gets big. No. It's not much bigger.
little bit.
So she's stuck with that dinky size, right? But see, here's the case where if it is 300 pixels per inch, and it is, especially a big group of people, it won't hurt to upload the whole thing. So,
Cool picture.
any questions?
Yeah.
All right. So who's next?
I don't have anything to, you just posted something. Yeah,
Well, you got something to share.
I just have some images of a family photograph. I don't have plans to put it up on a site or anything.
Did you have questions for it, about it?
No, I was at a point where I was going to probably do some touch-up on the photograph.
All right, well, let's do that. Let's look at that now.
I do have one question.
Yeah.
On some of my photos that I took with my phone, the background is nice and light, but the foreground is too dark. Do you recommend
Can we see it?
change? Well, it's on my phone.
Well, let's look at it.
We have a number of photographs like this, and I basically have to get elements and play around with them and try to do more with cleaning these photographs up. When we
Yes.
downsize it, when we put it up on a web page or whatever, it looks decent.
Right.
But actually, when you bring it up like this and you're
Right.
seeing, the image here, you can see there's a lot of, noise in the picture, and it just needs a lot of.
You know-
and everything else. And her eyes, so you can't even
Oh, yeah.
see.
Yeah.
It almost looks just like
Oh.
dark circles,
Yeah.
and you can barely see her eyes there.
You know, a nice technique for evaluating images to decide, okay, is this a pleasing image, is the squint when you look at it. Squint. Like squint, so just, and when you squint looking at this, all you see is like black, black,
I
black,
mean, it looks
black,
like
black.
they've got raccoons,
Yeah, yeah.
They got the dark circles in
Yeah.
their eyes.
And you see all the streets and,
Yeah.
oh, look at that one on sale. And, it's just like everything is distracting. So it's a really tough image. So can we bring it in elements? Can we
Well,
open it?
I just started, I think it's starting up elements here.
Uh-oh.
The other one, now you got two.
Okay.
It's okay. Go to edit, yeah. And try that there. Oh, okay. Right, open it from there. I would try computer.
There it is.
Great. All right, so what do you think you should do to try to help this?
See, that's the thing, I'm not too savvy on the photo editing. I'd
Right.
really, like the other gentleman was saying, he wants to see more of the faces and sharpen, you can see the
Yeah.
eyes here. I'd really like to do something, at least with her.
So the first thing,
She's got a lot of darkness on her face, not so much on him. The light apparently is coming down from this way here.
Mhm.
So you can see he's kind of almost washed out too much. Right, she's got this darkness here.
yeah,
In the face, the eyes, everything else, and you kind of lose the separation between the two.
yeah.
So,
So let's do this. Let's do this. Let's duplicate this background layer. So that's selected, right? Go to layer, duplicate layer, and hit OK. Now what we're going to end up working in a new layer on top of this, the old layer. Now what we should do is we go to levels. You know how to go to levels? It's enhance, adjust lighting, and levels. Okay, now move that dialog box down a little bit. Yeah, like that. So now what we want to do is we want to fix these triangular sliders so that they're at the edges of this mountain. It's actually
so
called the
these
history.
here are at the,
They're at the far end, so bring this slider right to that end.
Does he want to select maybe the red shape or
Um,
doesn't it matter?
not right now, I don't want to
Explode his
overwhelm, yeah. But very good.
I want to change.
Yes. Bring that,
bring this one in,
yeah, right here.
there,
Okay.
and then bring this one into there.
Now, look everybody, hit OK. Now, what I want you to do is click the eyeball for background layer.
Back.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's it.
the copy.
Yeah, copy, sorry, copy. That's, now we're seeing the original layer. See how muddy it is, right? So now hit the eye, same eye. Now it's a little better contrast. The contrast is improved. But
This whole area
we
here
have
is
blown
like-
this area out now.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want that.
Right.
He just wants to help the eyes, all right? So a real crude way of doing this really quick would be now to erase this area here. All right? Or we can, there's a lot of ways to do this, but we could do a selection. So let's do this. Let's turn off that layer. Right? Okay, now click on the background layer. Now go to this thing, this lasso. Choose that. And I want you to make a quick circle around the dark eyes. So it's not too easy to do. And then like, good. Now, click in the middle of that and push it up a little bit, just a little higher. And let go. All right? Now go to select. We're going to soften this selection by going to feather. I'm going to take a guess, 5 pixels is okay.
That's what it's set at,
Yeah, I'm going to guess that's okay. Go ahead and click that. Now, go to Enhance, Adjust Lighting, Levels. Now what I want you to do is use this middle slider here and move it to the left. All right, now we're seeing.
Now we're starting to see her.
We're seeing it, but it's really looking still real flat.
Yeah, it's
right?
It's better. You can start
Right.
to see the shape of it, but it's not very clear.
Right.
And there's only so much you can do with that.
Right.
Okay.
And we're beginning to see there's nothing really there to say.
Nothing to work with. No.
So in that case, I would cancel. All right. And I would turn that back on. At least we're a little brighter.
Yeah.
And now if you click on this background layer, we can get the eraser tool, this pink eraser tool. Move it over here so we can see. And it's a small brush. We want to make a nice big brush. So hit this right bracket key. Keep going, yeah, like that. And just wipe all this out.
Just
Yeah.
erase this off.
Ooh, it's so hard edged. Undo that, please. Try edit. Try just edit, undo. Right. All right, so we want to soften the edge of the brush. This is our brush up here. So I think we have to click on this triangle to set the hardness. Go try. Oh, nope, nope. Yeah, that. All right, fine. I'm wrong. Click right here. Let's choose 300. Now move your mouse pointer here. Good, good.
Okay.
Now start erasing.
Oh, I get it.
Oh, you're on the wrong layer.
Okay.
Click that layer. Okay, now erase. Oh, it's because you erased this one.
Okay.
Okay, go to edit. Hold on, we're gonna fix it. Undo eraser. Go to edit. Undo eraser. Undo eraser again. Good. Now click this top layer.
Okay.
Erase.
Thank God for the undo key.
Yeah, really.
And
And you just
pictures to do.
go right around. Don't go cut into her hat though, because we want her hat to separate.
I was gonna say, from this angle, I didn't even know she
Should I
had a
make it-
hat.
I didn't know that one either.
Yeah, see, you're
I think
just-
this
Oh
is
my
good.
God.
No, I think this is good.
Okay.
I think you should erase all this out here. Just don't hit them.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do something else.
Should I make the circle smaller though, so I can get around these other areas?
Just go up above, like this off screen. Yep,
Okay.
yep, yep. This is a very crude method that I'm teaching, but it's something I'm hoping he could remember.
Yeah.
And then when he buys my course, he can see the refinement of it. But I could tell him, all do this, do this, do this, do this, and oh, I'm out of here.
So is it erasing?
It's erasing that top layer. Now watch this. He's gonna hit the eyeball, hit that eyeball right there for the background copy. Before, click it again, after. You see the difference?
Oh, okay, I
Now,
see.
check this out. Click, good. Click on the background now. Now, duplicate this background again. So layer, duplicate, layer, hit OK. Now go to Enhance Levels. Enhance, Adjust Lighting, Levels. Now, move this slider to the shadow, yep, and move this slider all the way to that end. All right. No, sorry. Move them back. Yeah, move that back. Okay, move this one to the right, middle. And, okay. See? Now hit the preview button. And hit it again. See? So it's, excuse me when I stick my head in the way, I just want to see. So it's kind of altered color a little bit too.
Yeah.
And you've really overdone it. That's a little too much. So I would bring this back a little bit. Okay, right there. And then I hit OK. Now, to really make this look like a clean black and white without a weird color cast, click above that background copy. I mean, not above it, but on it. Yeah. And now, what is this thing? This is called an adjustment layer. So go there and choose hue and saturation. And we'll desaturate all the color and make it a pure black and white. So shift, see this is saturation? Pull that all the way to the left, and that will pull out all the color. All right, so hit that eyeball for that layer before, click in after. And plus you have an improvement.
You know, there is a slight improvement in her eye, unless that's my imagination. But
Well, it's not. It's not your imagination, because we did
do a little
we
bit.
did work on that. We did help the shadows and the highlights in the eye.
Yeah.
It's hard to see on a flat screen from an angle. That's what's kind of cool about doing this one-on-one thing, is you get to go through it. So what do you think?
Well, I don't have this program yet, so this is a good.
What is this?
Photoshop Elements.
Photoshop Elements?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said to scan a color, whether it's black and white or not, and now you're taking the color out?
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, see, the images, when they were scanned, we scanned them as they looked. Now,
Okay.
it could have been because the pictures were faded, it could have just been the way the film was at the,
Yeah.
at the period or whatever.
Right.
But it had that hue that you saw before.
Right.
But if we wanted to make these things look better in black and white, doing what we just did,
Okay.
cleaned it up a lot better instead of seeing all those different, not quite sepia type shades, but it was just the color balance, the color just was not right.
Okay.
And also, he's got this all in layers, different layers. These things can be turned off and on, as long as he saves it.
Yeah.
And he can do all he wants with it.
Can you do all you want with it and still save the original the way it looked when you first scanned it?
Well, yeah, so what I would
You can do
do,
that as a tip and then change it.
I would save it as TIFF, it would have the file name, and then I would go -ORI or something for original, something like that, or original.
You always-
Just put original.
If you're going to be doing this kind of touch-up work and everything else, you always want to make a copy from your original. Never touch the original scan.
Yeah.
Keep that all separate and then
So-
make a copy that you're going to use for touching up. Because if you mess it up as the original, then you're starting all over again.
So what Mark is going to do next, if he wants to keep this, is he would go to File, Save As.
Okay.
And then what would he save it as now?
Well, now I would recommend he save it in what's called the Photoshop format, or PSD. That's what I recommend, because it has layers in it. If he saves it as a JPEG, it will flatten all the layers. And he won't be able to go back and make changes into those layers we were doing. Yeah. And he could save it as a TIFF with layers as well, but I don't teach about that because that can get a little confusing to beginners.
Okay, so it comes up here and I'm doing the
Did you
save
ever
as.
save it as a PSD? I was just going to ask.
Yeah.
It defaulted here
Right.
to Photoshop PSD format.
It defaulted to that.
Yeah, but if you
Yeah.
click the drop down here, you look at all these different formats
Yeah.
that you have here. I mean, some of them aren't even supported on other
Yeah.
computing platforms or everything else.
PCX,
Yeah.
Targa,
Some of these are very old formats and stuff
Yeah.
that aren't really being used much anymore, so.
right,
um,
right. There
Did
was
you
a-
ever save them as a PSD though? I've always just saved them as TIFF.
Well, if I'm working with layers, I mean, I have a TIFF workflow, even with layers. That's the way I do it. But, you know, just listen, everybody. I work with Photoshop every day that I work. And I retouch maybe under 100 images a week, maybe 50, maybe 60 on average. You know what I mean? So I'm doing this and I'm working with other people. So it's very different. So I teach to go with PSD for layers, just because I don't want people getting confused. You know, I have a confused.
You have a picture. I emailed you a picture.
You emailed it to me. Great, great. Eric B at Photographics.pro, so I can log in and get it. So let's do this.
That's not the email address.
That's not the emails you sent to? So what do we have next? You said it.
That was good, we did.
Oh, I'm sorry. I sent it to, where did I send it?
You sent it to mailing list?
Yes.
Oops.
All one's.
What? I'll put you on my mailing list.
So.
I'll get it. I'll get it. No, I may not get it from here. So send it to Eric B at Photographics.pro. Just because I would like to show everybody working on that picture.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
You're scanning photos, you haven't touched on that, but you always scan at the highest format you can, or highest DPI?
When I'm scanning photos, do I always scan at the highest DPI that I can? Well, it depends. Am I scanning 35mm negatives?
Then you would.
Yeah. I would make it like whatever it can give me. And I'd end up with a 20 megabyte file. But that's what you have to do with a 35mm negative or slide.
Right.
If you do it at 100%, it's going to be a 1 inch wide.
It'd be unusable.
Unusable.
Some of them
Postage
will
stamp.
extrapolate. So how do you feel about that?
So the extrapolation that you're talking about is where it adds pixels to make up for it. But that depends on the resolution of the sensor, the scanner, the true what is the optical resolution? If its optical resolution is indeed what they say, they tell you what the optical is and they tell you what the interpolated is. Optical is real, interpolated is false. It's like it's just fluff.
Yeah.
It's fluff. So your scanners can actually give you bigger images than possible, than you'll ever need. But it's not necessarily, it's just like some of your digital cameras will give you an extra large size. Well, it's nothing but a large size.
Well, the thing I do is I go in there and capture an image and blow it up. So I can, you know, if I don't have a family picture of this particular individual, I can go in there and grab him off the photo and blow it up that way.
In your flatbed scanner, it's really good for that. Flatbed scanners are really nice for enlarging, especially your Epson.
Yeah.
You know, they're very. You use the Epson?
Yeah.
Good, smart man.
So I saved that image as both as a PSD and as a TIFF. And it came up with, when I was saving it as a TIFF image, it came up with some options and everything else in saving it. And it did say that the file size would be larger because of all the layers. But looking in comparison to the PSD file size with the TIFF, it's only a little bit. It's 19,206 for the PSD, and the TIFF is 19,299. So it's still large, but it's, you know, not that much for those two different formats.
So is the TIFF a little smaller? Is that what you were saying?
No, the TIFF is larger because I saved it with the layers.
Ah, yes, yes.
So I saved it with the layers.
And then there's layers with different types of compression levels.
Right.
Yeah, and those can get tricky. Be careful with that stuff.
I took the...
It says, do you want it faster but bigger file, or slower but smaller file? And it's like, ah.
But see, I can double click on it on the TIFF image and
It'll look fine. It'll look fine. PSD with layers, TIFF with layers. It's all about workflow. That's what that's about. It's not about quality. All right? Anybody else have something we could work on? We could talk about. Questions?
I was waiting to hear about your church.
All right.
So, Eric, just real quick while you're pulling up for church, like, I have and I was looking at one of the posts I just recently did, and what, I didn't have much to work with, but they gave me a Xerox copy of a photo. So it's basically just black and white. So at that point, there's really not much you can do with that, right? Just maybe save it and try and
Man,
get
those
the
copies,
saturation like you have.
yeah, those Xerox copies.
Because that, and the newspaper, because the newspaper wasn't all that great either.
Yeah, oh, they're awful. But can you show it to us?
Yeah.
How about you show it to us?
You know, that's not all that bad, because I've gotten some.
Excellent.
I tried your trick with the bubbles, but that was about as fast as I.
All right, let's do this. I think we can improve that a little bit. And
Because when you get a Xerox copy,
And I've got a ton
That's
of
a
other
good-
things like this
that's
that
a
I would
copy
like to
of
try.
a good original. That's a good copy of a good original.
yeah, but if you copy it from more recent newspapers, because of their, what's the format?
Half-toning.
Because of what they do, you can actually get, the copy of the newspaper article will actually pick up the ink images and everything else from the other side of the paper.
Oh, that's ugly.
So
Yeah.
the only, sometimes what we've done is we've taken black construction paper, put it behind it, and scanned it.
And you know, some scanners have black on the back of the lid.
Right.
And that's really good. That's really good. Put black
Construction paper
behind
behind
your
it.
newspaper scans. And also when you do your scans, and I'll talk about this tomorrow, is you should scan with the de-screening filter. And I'll show you what that is.
De-screening?
Yeah.
I was afraid to use
Yeah, use that always with newspaper
that. Just
scans.
something.
Yeah. Magazine, anything that's been, any picture that comes out of a publication from offset press is actually made up of dots called
Yeah.
halftone dots.
Right.
If you see those halftone dots, you need to use the de-screening filter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you find the de-screening filter? Is that in your program?
It's in
Yeah, in the scanner software.
It's in the
So
scanner
if you
software.
had your Epson, you'll see it, but you have to have certain settings. Here, I'll do what we were talking about before. I'll duplicate the background layer, and I'm going to save it right now. And we will not use the organizer for now. And at the end of the name, I'm going to put I want to type R1 in Photoshop format. R1 means this is not the original,
Oh,
but
okay.
giving it a different name.
Okay.
That way I'll always have the original if I want to go back to it. And it's right in the format. Now layers will add to the size. It will make the picture bigger.
It will make what
The
we're
image,
actually seeing here.
sorry. Sorry, it makes the file bigger.
Okay, all right.
Makes the file bigger. Twice the size. We'll go to Enhance, Adjust Lighting, Levels. Now, I will push the slider
Oh,
like this. This is the white slider, the white triangle.
okay.
This is the highlights. Remember what I talked about? Images, pleasing images have what? Good contrast.
Yeah.
So now I have improved the contrast of the church.
But you've also taken out the cloud and color.
And we've
sky.
lost the sky. All right? Let me hit OK. Now, here's something that might work. In Photoshop, some of these newer versions of Photoshop, they have something called the Quick Selection tool.
Okay.
And if you drag, click and drag, it will do quick selections, marching ants, around what you want. Actually, I already did the church, so pardon me. I want to do a quick selection. Let me deselect, select, deselect. I want to do the sky. So here I go, I'm going like this. That's selected. I hold the Shift key down. I grab my quick selection tool and I'm just clicking, and it got me the sky.
Okay.
Now,
Oh, so So then you're gonna pull in the original layer.
Well, I'm going to cut out of this top layer so that you can see the sky of the original layer underneath it.
Oh, okay.
Do you understand?
Okay, yes.
So let me see if I can make these layers show up bigger. Let's try there. You see down here my layer palette? You see? All right. So now when I hit the delete key or the backspace, so let me select, deselect. Now, this is a crude method,
Oh, but it sure does work.
but you know, it gets by. It gets us by. You know, the edges aren't as nice as I'd like them to be personally, but it's pretty good.
It is, it's excellent.
I mean, you're not going to be viewing the picture up like that unless you're on a screen looking at that kind of detail, but from far away, you can't.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a guy like me is gonna look at it and say,
Yeah.
look at that. What sloppy work. Yeah, picky.
Now, I could also go through on those tombstones that are dark.
So let's look at the tombstones.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna.
Like this tombstone, there's nothing there. I don't think there's anything we can do about it. Let me get an adjustment layer on top of it just to see so I can view it. There's nothing there.
Oh, it's the backside.
Oh, okay,
On
then.
that one, it's the
The
backside.
backside. So let's go over here. Which one do you want?
The one, just the tall, dark one. It's
Yeah.
behind. Yeah, right there in the center.
Yeah, we're not getting anything from that. You had to get closer to that.
Okay. All right.
Got it?
Yep, that's okay.
So now what I'll do is I will save, right? Because, and then it says, oh, I have to email it to the kind lady who sent it to me, right?
And everyone else in the world.
And everyone else in the world. But not only that, but I want her to be able to view it without Photoshop elements. So what do you think I'm going to have? How do I do that? Because she doesn't have all these. She doesn't have the software to open layered files. So how do I get this layered? How do I do this?
Are you gonna flatten the image?
Flatten. I can flatten the image. That means flatten the layers.
Does that?
But a quicker way. A quicker way.
Just save it as a TIFF, right? No?
Save it as a JPEG?
There you go. Save as a JPEG.
Save it as a JPEG.
Save as a JPEG. Remember, save as, right? Save as. And here I'm going to call it photo R1 flat. I'll just say photo, I'm going to call it photo R1. Since it's a JPEG, it shouldn't have a problem with that. Nope, it won't let me do it. Alright, so this is a PC, it's a little different. So I'm just going to call it photo, I'll call it R2. I mean, hold on a minute, hold on. I think I got it. Yeah. Okay, so I just saved it as a JPEG. I kept the same file name. I increased the quality of the image to maximum.
Okay.
Maximum JPEG. Maximum quality. And I hit OK. And then, I can't do this at the moment, but I would then attach it to the email. And I'll send it back to you as is. So, any questions? So I'll turn the light back on. We got 15 minutes. So just wanted to warn you, I'm turning it on.
I don't think that's stopping the function.
Actually, I think my IRA has some stock in them, but I hate that company. But yeah, I sure promote them a lot. They should be more respectful to us small business people.
When I had the Genealogical cameras, and this was probably 15 years ago, they came with a photo editing software called Genealogical.
Uh-huh.
And I took a picture of a really neat historic site. And when I came home and was looking at the pictures, there was a power line going through it. And I got stubborn enough, and I didn't want to see the power line. So I expanded it enough, and it let me change pixel by pixel.
Oh. see that.
It was,
I have to see that.
it was neat, but that.
You were happy with it, though?
Yeah, I was happy with it,
You were
because I
happy.
just used the color, the dragged-in color that was surrounding.
I have a couple of photos that someday I really would like to use.
Yes, you have some photos.
Would you like to pick which
Yeah.
photo you?
Yeah, let's look at these photos that you're talking
I
about.
have one with a fold down the center, of course, my dad's right in the center.
Uh-huh.
Or I have his parents' wedding picture.
What are you gonna, how do you want to use these, and do you, what
I'm not
is?
certain, I mean, I'd like to put together something for the family, and these are pictures that I had thought of using, but like I said, I'm paying because I wanted to prevent mistakes, like now I know not to sort of in JPEG like I have it. But it would probably be printed as opposed to on the
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, what we did was we took, we got a collection of my dad's photographs from when he was born until he went to the Navy. And so what we did is we scanned all of them, did some basic, cleanup and straightening and that kind of thing. And then there's all those online book services like Stampfish and things like that. And so we did, we did a small book just to see how it was going to turn out. And uploaded all the photographs, arranged them kind of in a chronological order, added some who's in the pictures and that kind of thing that we knew. And within a couple hours worth of work, they had a book printed up.
Now, had you originally had those in TIFF or had you had them in JPEG? Because so far, I had always done my scanning at 300 dpi.
Well, we realized it afterwards, so
Yeah,
when
and then
we scanned these ones in my
rescan
dad,
it.
we had them in tip, we scanned them in TIFF.
Okay.
And,
Because I do have access to almost all of
now,
these.
I can't remember, I can't recall this for absolute, but some of these book places might be picky about the format of the photographs that you're putting out there.
Most likely, they're gonna fuss about resolution.
Yeah,
They
so,
format, they're not gonna take, I can't imagine them taking anything but a JPEG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because that-
so what you would do is just scan all yours in TIFF, and then save copies of all of them, saying these are ones I'm using for the book, the online book or whatever, and then save this JPEGs and then upload it to Snapfish or something.
So let's do this. That's a good idea. Can you zoom in on the wedding picture, the two? Yeah. Can you zoom in on that? You're not in Elements, right?
No, I just opened up my.
Can you switch to Elements? It's right here. PSE. Click on that. I want you to go to File, Open, and navigate to your thumb drive. So, yes. You think you can find it from there?
Yeah.
Because I want to zoom in, and I want to see if the quality, if the JPEG quality is okay. And we'll be able to tell. And I'll show you how to do that. Great. All right, now I want you to choose the zoom tool. It's that magnifying glass. And I want you to click on her face. Click again. Yeah, this is already looking troublesome to me. Does anyone know why?
It's pixelated.
Click again.
She's starting to get dirty looking.
Click again. Right on her face, though. Now scroll up a little bit. Look at all this stuff. Look at these blocks. Do you know what that is?
That's what one of the images you showed a sample of in the slide.
That's artifact. But let's go here. Let's go to image.
What did you call it?
That's called artifacts. JPEG artifacts. I want
Oh,
yeah.
it's from when it's been worked on before?
No,
No, it's the JPEG format.
yeah.
Image size. Your image size is 6 by 9 at 96 pixels per inch. So not only are we having artifact problems, see these weird blocks? But the resolution is too low.
Okay.
It's too low. I
This
would
came from
recommend.
a photograph of the original, a film photograph of the original, and
Well,
then we scanned that photograph.
I'm thinking that film
Original.
is better. That film photograph, that copy shot. That's what you're telling me it is. It's a copy shot. Someone took with the film
There
camera.
there was an original, and my husband took a photograph of that original, and we had that developed, and then I scanned that.
But he took a photograph with a film camera.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so we need to
The
go
original
with that,
photograph.
either film or that photograph that was printed. I don't know if it was printed on a digital,
No, it predated digital.
good. So I bet
Even
you,
better.
you don't have that with you, do you?
Not here, no.
So I'm thinking it looks a lot better than that.
Okay, so.
And I think it needs to be rescanned,
Okay,
and it needs to be at 300 pixels per inch,
okay,
and it needs to be saved as a TIFF.
okay.
How do you scan things? What do you use?
I have a flatbed scanner.
What kind? What brand?
I don't know, something my
So,
husband.
yes.
All right.
What was that? I say yes, and then you'll be happy.
Yeah, say it.
I don't know, it was something my husband.
Don't tell me it's a flip pal right now, please.
Oh, no, no, no,
No,
no. That's
just
for
kidding.
emergencies.
Yeah, really, I understand. You have to rescan that.
Okay.
And what about those other images? Are they,
They were done on flatbed.
so let's look at one of those.
Okay.
So hit cancel. You can leave this open. Go to file open. And find it. Yeah, that's a zoom tool. So click on, on the people for me. So let's click again. Click again. All right.
Oh, that is.
What do y'all think so far? Is this a good scan? Click again. See, I hear a lot of
Yeah. Oh, it's
gas
just-
pains,
Not really.
Legos.
That's a new thing. Can you
Like
use that?
This is a Lego Minecraft thing here. This is, oops, that's a trademark. Oh well. Okay, so now let's go to image size. Image. See, you're going to be an expert at elements when you leave here. You know that. Okay, resize, image size. So you're at 5.5 by 3.5 at 200 pixels per inch. See, it sounds like you're using some kind of automatic settings on your scanner.
See, most scanning software, they have default settings.
Yeah.
And then usually there's an edit button or something where you can change the
Yep.
settings.
An
And
advanced
how you
button,
can,
a
you
professional
can
button.
increase it,
Yeah.
the resolution and that kind of thing.
And that's why, we recommend. I'm sorry, we recommend the trinity of digital imaging here.
I love
We
that.
recommend Epson.
I would
But
actually.
now my girlfriend has
Yeah.
one, and she goes through ink like crazy.
Well, that's a
That's a
printer.
printer. This is a scanner.
We're talking about a
Oh,
scanner.
scanner. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about a dedicated
Just a-
flatbed
just
scanner,
a-
not an
I was
all-in-one.
thinking this was probably done by
I know.
HP.
I'm used to it all.
Hey, I use my
HP,
all-in-one
yeah, HP, and
Don't use
HP
it.
kills me. I was thinking that's got to be an HP because HP does that with the edges. It makes them gummy. And even if you save it as a TIFF,
Really?
Yeah.
I don't get it. I mean, the thing, it's so confusing to me. Why I'm saving it as TIFF, but it brings it into JPEGs. I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
That's what we're going to be doing.
This has to be
Rescanned.
Someone have to buy a dedicated
Okay.
scanner.
All right.
Don't bring money over.
And I want you all.
Party.
There you go.
I want you all. This is a blatant plug, but you need it.
Yeah.
You got to come to my booth 221. Join the email list. Don't mark me off as spam.
That's great.
And it's free, and every month you're gonna get a little info about basics, and again you'll kind of know, you'll get used to my nagging, and it will really make a difference. And you should definitely think about getting my course because you'll be off on the right foot.
But
And
Eric,
let's take a look at that.
not to be shameless, right? Because we
Shameless,
have never
yeah.
worked together. We
Right.
don't have any kind of things, right?
Nope.
But I saw a presentation from Eric, I don't know, 4 or 5, I don't know, a few years back at least. And then there's YouTube videos that are free, so you can
Yeah.
try before you buy anything.
Yeah, I got.
And I've really learned a
100
lot.
hours of video
I learned a lot.
on our YouTube channel. Yeah,
Okay, I have a,
yeah.
So I'm just saying, if you're not sure how much money you want to spend,
Yeah, just look
go
at.
in and at least
Get the
look,
free stuff.
and you'll be happy. Well, no, I have a couple of your
I
courses too.
brought it in.
but-
I
Oh,
bring it in
shoot.
here.
Zoom. I want to show everyone that.
I think they were-
This is where, like, I got 2 minutes. I just want to cram in one more picture. Well, things didn't go as planned, but I think it went
Yeah.
well. You got something
Yeah,
nice.
I did. And I have a bunch of others because the weather was very cloudy.
Well, we
The
might.
sky was good in one direction, but every place else it was kind of
Well,
cloudy.
that's
and
Sweden,
so-
right?
Yeah.
Sweden, it's like it's either hot or it's
Well,
cold,
Sweden,
right?
Finland, Russia, Estonia.
And then that whole northern Europe,
Yeah.
right? And then all the
I took my
mosquitoes.
daughter for her graduation.
So let's look at this real quick, everyone. Look at this.
This
Oh,
this was a newspaper article that had been blown up and made into a poster, and then we took a picture of
So
it.
you can see the dots.
Yeah,
Is it-
you see
Yeah. How it
that
is.
checkerboard? Now watch when she zooms in. Watch what happens. It's still there. Zoom
It
in
looks
again.
like it's behind
And
the
again.
screen.
Yeah.
Looks like you look.
So the only way to fix this is the de-screening filter when you scan it.
And so.
And Epson has
It's
really
optional.
good.
Just label it, two guys.
And Epson, you know, I swear, they need to
behind
pay
home
me.
plate.
I don't get paid a dime
I
from
have
Epson.
is it a
You should get
4900 or
paid.
4990? Way back, it's still relevant, because when I
Yeah.
go to their website, there haven't been many
Yep.
after that.